Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. Lots going on here, there, and everywhere. I'm sure you're aware of what's happening in your area. If you're not, go outside. You'll find out real fast. Run to the store. Try to go to the movies. Try to go to the casino. Try to go somewhere. You'll find out what's happening real fast. Now, by the end of the week here, we're talking about the virus, everybody. They're talking about shutting down all the bars and restaurants and everything else. It's going to become one of the biggest waves to ever hit this planet in recent time. But what people do is going to determine how fast it stays or leaves. If everybody does what they're supposed to, it could help cut it down much faster. If people try to play games and go against the rules, it will probably stay around a lot longer. Now, we're going to talk about that. But if you saw the title for today, I'm mixing aliens with the virus. And you're going to say, why? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. And we'll go into them today. But there's a lot of things happening right now that you need to be aware of. Now, I know people have a lot of themes, theories, and stuff like that. Everybody puts their own theories up. But before I get into this in any detail, I just want to introduce our co-host here, Tina. You want to say hello?
Hi guys, I'm Tina Bird here from Southampton in the UK, and it's a very good St. Patrick's Day here in England, Ireland and Scotland and all across the UK and various parts of the world. So happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody, and I'm Tina Bird here on Hive, Human Individuals Visited by Extraterrestrials, and you can find me on Facebook and all the other social media. And I'll be with Tommy taking your questions. If you want to join us online in the live chat room, if you look on mine or Tommy's websites or on our Facebook pages, you'll find the live link for tonight's show. So you can click on that live link and join me and Tommy either in the chat room, share a link, or you can call in on the live link. You can speak to us. We put you on live and you can ask as many questions as you'd like tonight about tonight's show. And so with that, I'll put it back to Tommy and we'll start.
All right, we're going to try to get into each one of them a little bit separate, and then how I feel they can merge together. The virus is spreading rapidly. They didn't expect it to be this bad. About 60 to 80% of the people on the planet think it was all fake in the first place. Now, was it created? Did the government create it? Was it created in somebody's lab and just put out there? The facts will probably never come out on that. The same as when AIDS first came out, they didn't admit it for 10 years. Do you realize how many people got affected with the virus before they admitted to what it was? So we're kind of lucky in one way that at least we know that it's there right now. But if they were going to keep it a secret, which they did in World War II with the Spanish virus.
Spanish flu.
They kept it, well, flu is a virus, but basically they're trying to cover that up. It was part of the war and what was going on. We couldn't say we had a virus because if we did, then it would show we were weak. And then that's the way statistics think, that if they see we're weak and vulnerable, they could attack us real easy. Well, right now, the whole planet's pretty vulnerable. China has its serious problems. China was probably the first place where we got recognition of what it was and how it was starting to spread. But here's the thing about China. I know the Pope says he's friends with the head guy and everybody's friends and all this stuff, but that's not true. No country out there outside of the United States is really friends with us. I'm talking about the big top powers: China, Japan, Russia, Germany. They consider themselves separate. They're not buddies with us. We're not buddies with them. We don't do things equally the same. But here's the thing. The virus is spreading to the United States rapidly now, and it's on its wave up. They're saying China's on its wave down, meaning after 2 months, it's starting to back down. Could be a good thing if it's true. But China never gives us the actual numbers of what's happening. So in the interim, you have to look around what's happening in your area. We listened to what Trump said 2 days ago, and then what he said yesterday, what these scientists and doctors are saying. All right. Now, everybody's saying, don't touch anybody, don't go near anybody, stay in your house. I mean, that's pretty good, but all the people that are supposed to be working won't be. and that means people will have no money. And if the government starts to decides to bail them out, it'll be a little bit better. But if they don't, we're going to see the mass chaos grow incredibly as far as violence. Because if you have no food and no money, guess what you do? You're forced to do things you normally wouldn't do. So now, do you want to say something about the virus, Tina?
Yeah, no, I'm just going to do that before my dog starts howling because he's just come right next to me. So please excuse me if you can hear him.
I'll let him tell what's happening in your area.
So in my area, a few things have happened apart from St. Patrick's Day today, which a lot of people can't celebrate. A lot of stores are closed tonight for restocking, normally the 24-hour stores. There's a couple of things I want to touch on first, apart from that, about China. China, it did originate in China, but China has also, I believe, give Italy a huge amount of help. China said they're now over their first peak. Remember, it comes in waves. My dog is actually going crazy a second, Tommy. I'll just see what's occurring. I'll be back in. I do apologise for this. It's not like my dog. So something's obviously having an issue outside my door. But yeah, so China gave mass to Italy, which is a good thing. So which is a good thing. But around where I live, everything is just starting to close. Obviously, we're just starting to reflect on what's happened in Spain and Italy. And France. So they're stopping all ships, I believe, and shipping. They're going to try and keep shipping lanes open for trade, but I'm not sure if that is going to be, if that's true. That's just come from the news. People have been laid off. So people who worked in the docks on the cargo, obviously food coming in, have been laid off for another 2 or 3 months. So obviously there's nothing coming in for them to take off the ships. All airlines, majority of airlines, nearly all of them, from what I understand, have been grounded. Cruise ships have been brought back to England and moored up in the UK. And yeah, we're gradually on lockdown. Central London has been spiraling out of control with the coronavirus now. And they are basically nearly on lockdown. They've been told to shut bars, restaurants, clubs, pubs. No gatherings larger than 100 people, and social distancing. I'm in Southampton, in Hampshire, one of the biggest areas for deaths, actually. I was at the Southampton General Hospital yesterday, and someone, I believe, died there of coronavirus, a 50-year-old person, I believe. And there's younger people. People just think, oh, it's older people, it's older people. There's actually a 30-year-old person on a ventilator. So, there are other people out there, a younger generation. There's another man at a different hospital, one of the 3 hospitals. They've got Salisbury. Someone died there yesterday, 58-year-old person. And some, we've got other hospitals. But we are gradually coming to a halt here. There's nothing on the shelves. Yesterday I went to go shopping. There's no toilet roll, no kitchen roll, no meats, no bread of any kind, no UHT milk on the shelves anywhere. So it came in today. Hand washing, you ain't been able to buy hands to wash or sanitizer for a couple of weeks now. That's limited a ration to 3 to 4 person or 5 to a person. And that's if you can buy it anywhere. So it's really gone out of control. So the next measures here, everyone's been told to, if you've got a cough, to self-isolate for 7 days. If anyone in your house has a fever and a cough, it's 14 days. And in the middle of that 14 days, so if you're in a living house with 8 people, that whole 8 people have to self-isolate with you. And if anyone gets a cough or cold within that 14 days, you have to reset that 14 days again. People over 70 are not allowed out. They have to be self-contained now, self-isolation for 12 weeks, which is 3 months on their own. So elderly people that suffer from depression on their own, can't go out food shopping on their own. Everything has to be taken and left there for them. Enough. So yeah, it's really harsh measures. Luckily, I've still got a job to go to where I work at the moment. So we're trying to keep that up and going. Shish. I do apologise, Tommy. I'm just going to have to leave you for a second because he's growling now. I'll be right back. If anything should happen, he knows it's underhanded, but I won't be long.
So,
what's the matter?
In Hawaii and in the United States, they're saying 50 people or less, but now they're trying to cut it down to 10 people. So, and they're saying 6 feet perimeter around yourself. So, no hugging, kissing, and things like that. So stay as
Sorry.
far away from people as you can. So we'll see if people follow that. I know I went to the food store yesterday and everybody was on top of each other and they disregarded that whole concept of staying away from other people at least a couple feet. And they were like on top of each other. You know how people are? You leave a little space and somebody tries to squeeze in that. And they say, oh no, this is the line. So it's kind of bizarre, but I guess for your own protection, if you abide by that, you'll be a little safer than listening and following everybody else. And say, excuse me, leave a little space between me and you. I know people are going to get upset. Well, I don't got the disease, or I don't got a virus. I don't. They're going to complain that they're okay, but nobody knows if they have it or not yet. I'll give it back to you.
So yeah, on that note, there's a couple of things as well. I'm not sure if anyone could clarify this for me. So people say this is COVID-19. It came out in December. I just want to draw on that fact. It was named and said it was announced it was a coronavirus in December, which means they've had to have had it 2 weeks prior to that, before December, another week for the symptoms to come out. And it must have been out in August, September last year for it to spread, for them to identify it as a spreading virus, and for them to start having deaths, to them have blood samples to test to say it's a coronavirus, which is one of many groups that could be bird flu, like avian flu. So it has to be a known virus for them to call it a coronavirus, which is quite serious. So it's had to have been about a few months before they named it a coronavirus in December, for one. The second thing is when they quarantine people for 14 days, they haven't really said how long it is before you actually, from the bacteria touching you, and then you ingested it to you showing symptoms. Now they're saying 14 days, flu's 5 to 11 days, but it's not a flu, it's not a cold virus, it's a bacteria, it's a virus. So if you ingest it, it's not the flu, it's not a cold. People saying it's not even cold. If you're sneezing, it's not. It's if you have a dry cough and a fever. People may not even have a cough, they may just have a fever. So again, it's not flu. And if it spreads that rapidly, it is killing people. You know, like they said, we got to be prepared for a lot more deaths here in the UK. But on another note, with this coronavirus, I've just lost my train of thought there for a second. It's right. So China's just hit the peak of their first waves. Flu epidemic comes in 2 waves. Now they said China's not only hit the first peak, it's hit the second peak. I think what they've got has gone up, had a blip of the maximum amount. It takes about 10 weeks to 6 months, which is 20 weeks, 26 weeks is 6 months, for the second wave to hit. So December, January, February, March is only 4. So they've got another 2 months, 2 to 3 months time. So I'll be interested in to see the numbers in 2 to 3 months time coming out of China again, because they're saying all hospitals are empty. So they've either had lots of dead people, which they've burned very quickly, or that the people's numbers aren't right, or they haven't tested correctly. And I'd be really interested to know the death toll, because official figures are again just people that have died in hospital, not the people that have died at home, not the people that have died of streets, and not the people that have died that have been undiagnosed or wrong diagnosis, death. So the figure, whatever you think it is, I'd probably triple that, but I'm not a medical doctor, so go with advice from them. So as that transpires here into the UK and around to Italy, where it's that spread. So if it's come from one person, Italy, which came from China, from one person to all these thousands of people and hundreds of people dying just from one person, it's got to be a severe coronavirus. And if they're saying there's no genome, it's my understanding that if they can't find a genome, it's man-made. Because if they find a genome, it's then from an animal or a known source. Is that right? If it doesn't have a known source or genome, identified DNA genome, like from a bat or a sheep or a pig or a bird, then it's man-made. So, but if someone knows the answer to that, they could let me know. I'll be very much grateful. Any questions, Tommy, so far?
No, but what I wanted to say is a couple years ago, I should say, I was driving across the United States And in the United States, there was herds of deer and elk dying in large numbers.
Yeah.
Famous person Linda Moulton Howe went on coast to coast saying what she thought it was, what she said it is, and all that. I got to debate her 3 times on coast to coast, but I said she's full of it. But the bottom line was, when I drove across the United States, I stopped in this hot ponds thing because I was like driving. I wanted to take a rest, and there was a lady in there. We started talking. Her husband was the top doctor in the town, and she said he just had to go in and testify what the virus was, and he called it the mad cow disease. Mad cow disease is not a natural sickness, disease, virus, whatever. It's implanted. So if they implanted it in these animals in the woods, it wasn't natural. Linda Moulton Howe said the deer were drinking the water from the volcano, and it was killing all the males, which was the biggest story. Whoever told her that was probably on drugs as well.
Viruses can identify sex.
Well, the problem is, it doesn't. And it wasn't. It was killing the whole herd. I'm talking hundreds at a time, all across the United States. So it wasn't like they were all getting to the volcano, drinking the water around it or anything like that. So the scenario of it is what we have now, this thing. We don't know where it was created. We heard a lot of the stories that it was created in Canada, brought to China 2 years ago. Now, I just found out that the United States knew about it a year ago as well. So we have the antidote. Now they're testing it. They're saying they're going to test it for a year, but I guess they're going to test it until they feel enough people died.
How can they test it when they said that they don't know where it's from? If they can't identify
they're testing it right now. They got a certain number of people that are being treated for it, and they'll see what happens in a period of time. Because they're saying
inbox.
Oh, hi, greetings. Pleasure. So what they're going to say is that if they come out okay and it works, then they could release it. But I said, how many people would volunteer? A lot of people would volunteer for that. Why limit it to a certain group of people when, they don't know if it's going to work? I mean, that's an excuse. How many people volunteer? I told my friend just a little while ago, when I was little, I volunteered for a lot of things. When they first came out with Accutane, I volunteered to use that. And it's really serious because what it does to your eyes is, you see I'm wearing glasses, but I had problems with my eyes half of my life because of that. It affects the skin. It affects different parts of the body. It's a part of vitamin C, but it was supposed to be used for skin, to cure your skin, acne. But what I'm saying, when they create these things, the benefit of it is probably not as dangerous as the sickness and the things that it can cause. So every time you think you're getting a cure for something, they're giving you 10 more reasons to worry about what's going to happen to you and your body. Now, what I wanted to do is, all right, there's not much we can do for that as an individual, except stay away from other people. But the second thing I wanted to bring out, in the UFO world, I mean, there's a lot of psychics and prophets.
Tommy, you froze there again.
I know when I'm frozen. I see it go black.
All right.
So I was going to say, Sylvia Brown prophesied the virus is going to take out a big percentage of the planet on the first wave. It's going to go away and then come back on a second wave and hit and then completely disappear. I mean, there's a few other people that prophesied that. Now, Corey Goode, who's in a big speaker now in the UFO world, said the world's going to be destroyed soon in a lot of ways. So you got a lot of psychics, so-called psychics, saying things are happening. But it's easy to say something's going to happen because something always happens. And it's usually not good when something like that happens. I mean, tell us when the first worldwide incredibly good thing happened. The world's still here. I mean, outside of that. So now when I'm talking about the UFO world, in Hawaii, the UFO videos and pictures are escalating. People are seeing all kinds of ships all the time.
Yeah.
And I know they're seeing them all around the world because there's incredible videos going up as well. So with the overflow of ships and everything, I will tell you information. You don't have to believe it, but at least listen. UFOs, alien races, always put a base wherever there's a big base, a U.S. government, Army base, Marine base, whatever. They monitor that because people don't want to hear the truth about aliens, but they do need us for reasons. And it's not because we're smart, not because we're loving beings. It's because we're useful as food and DNA and blood. So outside of that, we're not much useful to them. but they do form around army bases because they always look where there's going to be a war. And people don't realize war was like a good symbol for them. Hey, there's a war there. Let's go and get some bodies and some stuff what we need, and nobody's going to report it missing. So now the psychic people.
So you're saying that the war is a cover for them taking bodies and people.
Well, it's a good excuse for them to do it. And now with this virus, how many people are going to go missing? I mean, sure. Now, Barbara Marciniak wrote a book about how aliens absorb the soul. And that's partially true that I know. When you die, if you're not in a religion or spiritual path or protected in any way, and you're going through the space between here and the next world, you're vulnerable. Demons, entities, anything could absorb that, including alien races. So that makes you a target. And if it's true, a lot of people aren't going to make it to where they think they're going to go, even though it's not going to happen. But if in this reality right now, all these people dying, I know countries burn their bodies right away, so they're not around.
Italy's not. They've banned funerals. Italy have banned weddings and funerals, and they're using chapels as mortuaries at the moment. So for some reason, Italy are not burying bodies, and as far as I know, they're not cremating them. So I'm not sure what they're doing with the bodies, whether they're chemically treating them and stacking them or what. But it's been widely across the media that it's been banned. All funerals and all weddings in Italy are banned. And they're using mortuaries and church mortuaries and gathering places like that for bodies. So I'm not sure how they're getting away with public health on that, but yeah.
But the sad part of all this, I think our government, Russian government, I don't talk about China because I don't know much about China's power and UFO world and stuff like that.
I think China are really up on it, Tommy. I think China, believe it or not, from what I've heard, I'm not an expert. I can only tell abduction. By the way, if you're in the chat room and you'd like to ask a question, I can't reply, but if you'd like to ask a question, you can either ask to come on live and go in the backstage, or you can type your question and send it in, and we can read it from the live chat room. So anyone waiting in the chat room would like to ask a question to join in, please do so. Sorry, Tommy, to cut you off there. But yeah, I think China are way up on UFOs. There's been too much in their history. They recognise a lot, and it's widely known in China that belief, like I say, aliens are not a religion, but lots of people say yes, that UFOs are real, and they are real in China. So I'll give you that. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Well, see, China deals with, they're more controlling in their own mind, and they think people's the answer. Army bases, more army people. The future of war is not with people. We outgrew that a long time ago. And Elon Musk just came out and said to the government, to the Air Force, jets are useless. He said they're totally useless. So don't spend
did Elon Musk ever get back to you? Because I remember you phoned him live.
No, they don't. They're afraid to. They won't.
Can I just answer this question in the chat room? Sorry, because someone's kind enough to ask a question. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name. Is it Jaro? I do apologise. My English is about it. It says, do you feel love when you linked with your alien children, Tina? No, I didn't. I didn't. I felt like a paternal protective instinct, but at first, no, they were dark inside. When I saw him, I realised what they'd done, and it was like horror, I think, to be honest with you. But they wanted to link with me. I didn't know that I could. It wasn't until I touched the pods that I could hear them all. And I was more shocked to know that they were females. When they brought the one, like the clone of me up, and I said, they don't think they're my children, they're clones of me. They are me. It's a weird feeling. But no, I didn't feel love. I did feel, I didn't know what they did with her when they took her away. I think that was her choice. Or their choice, but they couldn't break the bond between us, and they couldn't break the link. So I hope that answers your question. But sorry, Tommy, to cut you off.
That's an important thing, because you're one of the few people that can talk about that. How many people on this planet could even go into that at any level, because they're just what other people said. Oh, I heard them say, and then soon enough you're gonna hear people quoting what you said.
Yeah, so only on Tommy's show live here, so you get things like that. Not yet. Exclusive world show here, guys.
Right. So getting back to China, they're dealing with people. They're trying to take away certain kind of people, which is like all the people in their jails, which I say were a lot of Tibetans. They took over Tibet, so they destroyed a lot of Tibetans there. And I think they're going to feed Tibet with the virus so that it kills out all the rest of them. It's a sad thing to say. They might even have the antidote.
The Tibetan people they're right up in the mountains away from everybody, aren't they? So they're quite recluse anyway, aren't they?
Well, they are, and they don't have hospitals, they don't have doctors, they'll all die. If that spreads there, a lot of them are old people, and it'll be spread pretty rapidly there. And
that's by the way.
Getting back to China, they're building all these cities. We talked about that already, but they're building all these giant army bases around in the ocean. So they're preparing for war. They're not preparing for peace. So again, their agenda is nothing close to our agenda or even Russia. I mean, Putin said a lot of things.
He's cooking. Sasha's cooking.
Oh, he's cooking right now. Okay. So getting back to Russia, I know Russia and Germany both worked with the United States fighting with aliens already.
Russia as well. They're going into lockdown and closing borders because of the virus. And yes, Russia, they wanted to share it. So I'm trying to piece everything together, like bring my history up to your standards, because you're very knowledgeable about everything, Tommy, and I'm a bit of a dimwit myself. But it's my understanding that Russia tried to share information when they sent a probe to Phobos. They came over to, I'm not sure if it was Britain or any of the other channels, to say that they'd found information out, that they took pictures of this craft. So at the time, nobody else had spacecraft on Earth. They found this craft coming towards the Russians that blew up one of the ships, and they took pictures of another ship. The Russians did, and tried to share information about that. So I think Russians did and do want to share. Whether they're allowed to by other countries now, I don't know. But at the time, I remember in the 70s, early 80s, they did want to share, and they had lots of information to come forward with. So whether they were silenced by the countries, but they quite generally come forward at the time. So you've got to give the Russians their credit as well there.
So I've been in the UFO world for a long time already, probably three-quarters of my life. I mean, outside of my own stuff. And I was there 30 years ago when somebody that I know lost a child, and she was abducted. And she was pregnant at 8.5 months pregnant. Just went to the hospital. They just did a sonogram. They saw the baby and everything. The next day she went back, and they couldn't even find a trace that she was pregnant. So a year later, she was pregnant again, and they took her second child. And then the year after that, they let her see the two of them, and they told her she'll never see them again. But I've been dealing with that a long time.
The governments around the world, we can't be the only ones. Every country you want to name in the world, this is going on in, and governments are letting this happen to our population.
Well, the problem is they can't stop it, really. The technology that our government has came from them in the first place. And whatever trade that the reptilian...
Yeah, I agree.
What the Greys did for people, all right, was trade water, and they took people, but they gave us their old technology.
Yeah, but they're not continuing to give us technology.
Not no more.
They're not continuing to give us the technology, but they still continue to abduct people.
Well, that's true. But the problem is, all right, the technology that we have, we do know how to destroy reptilian ships and Grey ships. So, and it's done a totally different way than people would expect.
Too high cost, Tommy. I'm sorry. One human life is just one too many to cost for it in exchange for any technology. I'm sorry.
Oh, but see, okay, you're not. You have to realize the world is controlled by. No. Whether you accept it or not, the New World Order, the UN, Agenda 21 is the New World Order. You need to pull it up and read what it meant, what it is, and what's going to happen. They said by 21, they said the world will be one country, one organization, one controlling power. 160 countries agreed that we need one world order. So they're working on that, and they've been working on that since they created the agenda, and it's a real agenda by the UN. 6 presidents in the United States said we need one world order. So they even consider that we do move into that. So, but it's not about fear. It's not about anything. It's just about control. And they don't want poor people. They don't want sick people. Now, if you're a rich person and you have a beautiful house, wherever in LA, wherever you want to put it, and you got all these little homeless people around and shacks, do you want them to be there? Of course not.
Yeah, but then again, that applies to the aliens. If they're that technologically advanced, why the hell would they want us? We just work at ants to them, literally.
But you're still food. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Food source, yeah.
Creature, everything that has a physical body needs food. And basically, in other planets and other stuff, they don't have food that they can eat. So yeah, where would you go? If our food source died today, where would we go? If everything on the planet died, which is kind of what they're doing with this, putting sulfur in the atmosphere right now, because that's going to create sulfuric acid, which creates acid rain. That's something people need to check out, learn, and look up.
So just reading the comments.
Okay, so what I was going to say is China's doing their thing their way. Russia's doing their thing. Putin said he wants global warming. He said he wants to be able to grow fruit and vegetables 9 months out of the year.
Oh, I've got to stop you there. Global warming is really annoying the hell out of me, right? So it really is. People, wake up. What the hell? Right, listen to this, right? So I'm not a PhD person, but I paid attention to Earth history and Earth science. The Earth is like a washing machine, people. You got 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles. The Mayans knew that. People before them knew that. If you look back in our record history of temperatures, the Earth used to be a lot hotter. It used to release a lot more carbon monoxide. It used to release a lot more gas. And the Earth used to have a lot more things going on than it does today. It dies down and then goes back up. The UK used to be a tropical island here at one point in the history. We're releasing less carbon monoxide and gases than we did millions of years ago. It's a cycle. Yes, man doesn't help. I'll give you that. Polluting the world with plastic, that is man-made. That needs to be dealt with.
Yeah. All right. History is wrong. Science is completely wrong. So when you give science any credit, you're going into they know what happened at what date. They have no clue. They have Tina, let me finish. They have no clue how we got here. They have no clue why the Mayans left, why the Aztecs left, why the Incas left. They have no clue for any of that. They don't even know how they built their own equipment, their buildings or anything. So science has no clue what's going on. They have no clue about the definitions of what the giants did, why they were here. So when you listen to that, well, the weather was this. No, the weather was never like that. Atlantis was destroyed by an alien race. It wasn't destroyed by Mother Nature. The same as when the Mayans were taken out, they were taken out. When the Aztecs were taken out, they were taken out. Just as Atlantis, when that went down, 2 races came down here and wiped them out. So it was never the global warming. The planet was in a bliss state in Atlantis. I was there. It lasted for a really long time.
Just to answer Sasha's question, no, I think the human race is totally screwed, Sasha.
Right.
I think by 2022, people will reevaluate things. Half the population of here are going to die of a big explosion. So, sorry, Tommy, carry on.
But here's the thing. Global warming is happening at the worst level. See, here's something people don't realize. Trees produce oxygen.
Yes.
In the dinosaur ages, when they ate all the plants, the brontosaurus, all they did was eat the trees and eat all the plants. Yes, that was their way of destroying the planet. So we said, well, a comet hit. That was one other way. But as far as God or the goddess saying, oh, let's make it rain on the planet, then you have to go into Bible stories, how real they were. Were they real? And I'll tell you, I totally believe 100% that Noah's Ark really happened, and they found the Ark.
I agree with you, Tommy.
That wasn't a natural event. Mother Nature didn't say, I'm going to flood the planet. All the biggest disasters that ever happened were created by something, not a freak or the weather feels bad.
I'll stop you there. It's a double-edged sword because science actually agrees with you there because they have said that one of the beginning of the Bible passage, the first one,
God created the earth.
Yeah, it said the firmament became the water from the firmament connected with our water from heaven and came down. Now they actually proved that happened. They said another planet hit ours.
Do you know what the firmament is?
Was it supposed to be heaven? It was another planet that hit ours.
No, it's nothing to do with that.
Oh, go on, tell me, educate me.
It's the energy that surrounds the planet that makes everybody live less than 125 years. Nobody's going to pass that. But see, when they talk about the ozone layer, it was miles long. What we polluted it with destroyed the ozone layer, and we know that. It's less than, like, you compare it a mile to a foot wide. That's how thin it is. That's why radiation in Australia and other places are extremely dangerous, the sun rays. But it wasn't natural. None of that was natural. Now, the other thing that the government doesn't even talk about, which is probably the most important thing in the United States, is fires burning. California and Australia now will produce the worst weather for the planet within the next 2 years. That's a fact.
Burning. They're not advertised that here. You don't hear that on the news.
No, not right now, but it burned for, just realize when they have a fire burning for 3 months, that ash goes up into the atmosphere and covers the ozone layer and actually destroys it. So with that going, with Australia doing the same thing, the weather changes to the worst because it puts a shield around the ozone layer. Not a good thing. I mean, the ozone layer works naturally with the sun coming through it. So when we talk about just the simplest parts of weather, without fracking, without geothermal, without the HARP system, you got, and the chemtrails, you got simple things. But when you add all of them, everything's happening because of us. Now, in Puerto Rico, we talked about it already, they're fracking. And they're fracking to the core of the earth. That means, if you pull up the chart, just pull it up today. I didn't even pull it up today. I'll look at it in 1 second, but they have more earthquakes there in the past year than ever in history. And they're super big ones all the time. You can't fracture into the core of the earth and expect nothing to happen. The simplest way is take an orange, stick a straw in it, and keep sucking on that straw. That orange collapses. And if people say, well, the world's too big, we can't suck the water dry, we can't do this. Oh, yes, you can. Just as a virus could spread around the world, even though it's not connected in any way. We have problems, and people don't want to look at the real problems, which means the government. And when we talk about global warming, nobody will touch it. Nobody will talk about the HARP system. They're afraid to. Now, that's the most deadliest weapon on the planet, and it was brought here by Tesla. Tesla brought it here from an alien. So, yeah, it's a chain reaction, and that's why I always say bring aliens into it, because they're always the fountainhead behind what happens. When the Mayans and the Egyptians were being taught, wasn't God teaching them?
I agree with that.
And it wasn't angels teaching them. Their theory of reincarnation to the Egyptians was retarded. It was a sick way of trying to tell them what's going to happen. What the Egyptians did to bodies and stuff, to think that they can come back to a body without a brain in it, with a broken jaw.
I think they're reading the Egyptian hieroglyphs completely wrong. They need to go back and revisit that. From the bits and pieces and weird stuff I've seen, they're definitely reading those hieroglyphs wrong. They need to listen to some older, very older generation people that do live there, because they're not reading that right. That's definitely. I think they did mummification to stop people coming back. They sent all the goods off with the body. Hey ho, off you go, and we preserve your body.
Well, see, here's the secondary to that. Aliens, and I was going to do a show on this, and I will be soon. Aliens and demons, the connection and the idea of what Satan is here on this planet with his demons. But Christians believe that aliens are demons, and the UFO people think aliens are real and demons aren't. So you got to twist it.
Doesn't see the aliens as, they see them as extraterrestrial life, separate entities from human beings. So the Vatican doesn't uphold that, Tommy. I've got to point that out to you. Sorry.
Well, the Pope said he's going to teach the aliens Christianity. Well, he's kind of stepping into place where his karma's coming back to him. He's tested positive today.
Who did?
The Pope.
No.
Yeah. You worried? No. I'm not. People get what they deserve. When you claim everything and say all this stuff without anything provable or anything really happening with it, like what the Pope said every day. I wrote him a letter every day for the past year. The same with the Dalai Lama, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle. They all say that everything's beautiful, everything's okay. Just don't stay inside your body. Just look at it. Well, no, you're here. You got to eat. You got to be part of reality. You got to pay your rent. Got to do all the things that the body has to do.
Yeah, do with new paper. Stop buying new paper, everybody.
Well, paying part of this when everybody loses their job next month, it's going to be a little bit dramatic. How it's going to take place. I feel if everybody.
Tommy, I'm just looking at the conversation going on here. What is 5D thinking? What is 5D? Or is that supposed to be 5G?
Now, who? Hey, Jara, who are you asking that? Tina or me?
Probably Sasha.
Or Sasha.
Makes sense if you don't look after yourself. How can you help others?
Right. Well, see, there's a bottom line. When you listen to Eckhart Tolle and he goes into you got to work be in the now. I tell people you can dream and fantasize and all that, but you're still in the now. You're not in the future and you're not in the past. Your body has to run on food within 24 hours and things. So
I didn't even need a sandwich to do it. I've been in the future and the past and another planet.
Well, we got these UFO people coming out with their stories, telling everybody alien race is going to be here. They're going to help us. You know, it's like saying, this is the simplest I could break it down. If you think you're a spiritual person, and say you are, you're walking down the street, and you see some father beating his kid, what do you do as a spiritual person? You step in, do you just watch it and say, oh, it's their karma? What do you say? What do you do? If a child's walking across the street and the light just changed and you see a car coming flying down, you let the kid walk out into the street and get hit by a car? Does that make you spiritual? Well, I'm not non-interference. I wasn't asked to come into their space, which is a spiritual law. But to me, and I always say to spirit, what's in front of me is what I'm supposed to be involved with. If I'm not seeing it, I can't be involved with it anyway.
So what does with spiritual people? Oh, thank you very much. Oh, let Sasha envious. I've got tea, not coffee. What does I'm interested to you or anyone else can answer this question. What does spirit think about people that are abducted by aliens? Because it's not a pleasant thing, or it's not a consensual thing. So, is there anything spirit can do to stop that, or what is their perspective on that?
Yeah. You have to say who is spiritual on this planet and come up with a name. If you can do with that, then we could ask the question. But I don't know anybody that can fill that place right now. So yeah, and then when Jara was talking about 5G, now fifth dimension is a delusional thing by the government and science as well, because they said we went from third dimension to fourth dimension. Now we're going to fifth dimension. We always been in.
Sorry, I'm a bit stupid about this. So I know what 3D is. 4D. So they're saying the 5G is a different dimension, or 96 dimensions. I agree there's probably different realities. I'm not sure how many there is. I'd love to know who come up with 96 dimensions, because I've probably seen one or two, not 96. But so who's been in? Is it the same people in different dimensions, or is there 96 different lots of people you're talking about?
Well, see, because he put it up in two different places, 5G and a 5D. 5D is fifth dimension. 5G is a sound wave.
Okay, yeah.
The sound wave can destroy your brain. It can destroy everything. It could go through a rock. It can go through steel. So 5G is an energy force that they created for war. They didn't create it to make cell phones work better. So, but getting back to the 5D, fifth dimension. Well, if you go into art, one dimension, two dimension, you draw a square and another square next to it. Three dimension, you put lines to make it look like it's three-dimensional. And it gives it depth. It's not real depth, but it looks like depth. And then when you go to fourth dimension, you're leaving the physical dimension, going into the real dimension. Like you're looking at a three-dimensional house.
And it's the production scale.
But getting back to fifth dimension is when you leave the physical dimension and go into the astral plane.
I've been there. I'll lift my body.
But that's a different dimension. But when people talk about we're going to go into fifth dimension, no, we're not. People aren't going there until they die. And then they'll be there.
The operating table, then bring me back.
Well, there's dimensions in this reality which the government doesn't talk about. There's 3 dimensions in the physical reality, and there's 3 dimensions in the astral plane. But each one of those dimensions has 3 different realities. Everything's based on 3, 6, 9. All the dimensions, all the realms, and all the worlds. So when you talk about the physical dimensions, there's 3 here, and each one of them has 3 realms within that. Like if you go into the 4th dimension, there's 3.
Maybe it's signposted because I'm going to get lost.
Well, all right. There's a lot of places to go before you get out of the hellhole. All right. Well, and the crazy people that live here, the crazy people that destroy it and work with it and tear it apart. But getting back to this alien thing, they have an agenda, and very few people and you kind of didn't realize what their agenda is when you say, well, global warming. They need this planet toxic. They can't live here until it becomes toxic enough where they can stay here. Now, there's a race of beings called the Tall Whites. They're on basically Area 54, and they are toxic to the human race.
That's Utah, isn't it? Area 54 is it in the Utah, isn't it?
No, they're all next to Area 51.
Oh, I know there's a new base in Utah, wasn't it? I don't know.
Well, no, they don't let people into the higher ones because basically the Greys and reptilians take over the higher realms, and then the Tall Whites are right after the human race. But it was discovered by
bases here on Earth, the aliens, definitely.
What was that?
I think the aliens definitely have bases here on Earth.
Well, like I said, the reptilians are there, the Greys are there, and the Tall Whites are there. But they're in different levels, like Area 51, 52, 53, 54. And they each have their own place where they come here. But they can't
breathe our oxygen.
Well, that's a problem. They're toxic, they're radioactive, and they need this world, the food they eat and everything. It's like saying if we
the bug is COVID-19, they'll all die of chest infections.
Well,
if it works on us, it's going to work on them.
All right.
Just a thought.
The serious part of this is we're in trouble, and we're not looking in the right places to get the right answers. If we rely on science to give us what we think we need, we're in serious trouble. Because all they're spending all their money on is to get out in space. With this virus, with population, disease, sickness, homeless, they're spending all their money on space and underground cities. 2 things you don't hear about. Why is that? Because it's where all our money goes. So people need to wake up, not that they will anytime soon. And spirit forces them to at certain times in history. It gives them like an ultimatum. Here's your choice. You die or you become aware. I mean, if you're not aware, like you shouldn't be talking to people, going around them, you're going to die. You got a choice. Do you want to listen to the truth? Do you want to listen to the lies? Or they got a cure for it. The cure will probably kill you faster than the virus it will itself. Just as when they create anything, they say, oh, this is the cure for that. AIDS was here how many years?
They think that was man-made as well.
Oh, it was. It was made, and it was put in the prisons in New Jersey. And what they decided, they couldn't let everybody die in Jersey. At that time, they took all the prisoners and shipped them. My friend was working in Rahway prison. They took all the prisoners and they shipped them all around the United States and put them in other prisons so that the same amount of people died in other prisons. Go ahead, Tim.
So no, it was just telling hello to new people that's joined us in the chat room. That was all.
Greetings coming in. What I would suggest, anybody that gets this link, please send it to your friends. We're totally open to questions. We only deal with the truth the best we can. And what I experienced, what Tina experienced, between the both of us, I think we experienced just about everything. I had 5 death experiences. She was on a ship so many times and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you want to talk about something, it's there. So I don't think too many people in the UFO world have as much experience in every level of that. I was less than a foot away from a Bigfoot, so they're real. I mean, I was 12 feet from a live alien. I mean, I was like 100 feet from a ship. And then Tina has her story. She was inside it, so it's not like. So you want the truth? This is the place to come. If we don't have the answers, I don't think anybody else will.
Can you send Sasha the link again? Because he wants to come live and he can't find the link.
Who wants to?
Sasha.
Sasha, you don't have the link?
I sent it out to people on Facebook on Hive. I sent it out on Hive.
Did you send? Hold on, let me do that real fast.
So yeah, guys, sorry about getting distracted from 5G. We can do that another night. 5G and things like that. Tonight is about aliens and viruses, but I think they are connected in some way because we didn't get 5G on its own. We got Wi-Fi from alien exchange technology, and Sasha said he can see us through Skype.
I do see the link.
But yes.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Sash.
So, as to the 5G questions, yeah, there is a lot of controversy at the moment around the world about 5G and new technologies and untested radiation. So I don't know enough about it to comment a lot. I can only speculate. I'm very limited.
Let me just take this question real fast. All right, I don't know if you know much about me, what I did in my life, who I was, what I went through. All right, I'm aware of all my past lives back to Atlantis, including being alive with Jesus. Yeah, Jesus came back here for a reason. He wasn't God, never said he was God. He was a soul that chose a specific mission which he decided to accomplish and do. Sadly, his own people didn't like what he was doing. So, yes, he came back to teach. He saw what was wrong and wanted to build a society that was better than that. But when he tried that, people couldn't understand what he was teaching because his teachings were too far in advance. And people today, especially in Christianity, have no acceptance to what Jesus was really teaching because it wasn't in the Bible. But Jesus wasn't teaching it. Now, if you want to think of the simplest thing, think of a person, the top scholar on this planet, teaching about butterflies. And he raised them, grew them, and all that. Who else could teach more about butterflies? Here's the thing. When somebody's teaching like Jesus was teaching about how to get back to God, it wasn't through forgiveness, and it wasn't through love. So he had to teach somebody something. You can't teach love. To think he was sitting there in front of 12 of his people right there, teaching them about love. And then he couldn't finish teaching them about love. He was killed. And Mary Magdalene had to come back and finish teaching them about love. Does that make sense? Go ahead, Tina.
Also, if you actually read a lot of those teachings, and even in the Bible and other religious scriptures and just scriptures, and depictions in paintings, sculptures, and cave drawings, you'll see pictures and stories of abductions. You'll see that it's the same as a plague. UFOs were seen when there was a plague, releasing mist from UFOs, whether they were spraying a planet to release the plague or spraying a planet to kill the plague. Throughout history, even in times of Bibles, the fire in the sky or the burning bush or the lights that came down were always in the sky with a bride in light. It's the same as alien abductions. That's just my point, my take on it. Well, you don't need to apologise. You can ask any questions on this show.
Sasha's coming on. Greetings, Sasha. We'll see you in a second. Hi. How are you? Hi. I just want to finish the answer to that question that I was asked. But when you go to school, you start in kindergarten, you go to 8th grade, then you go to high school, then you go to college. Do you think you would want to stay in kindergarten? You think you want to stay in 1st grade? Do you think you want to stay in 8th grade forever? No. Earth was a place for soul to recognize what it is and then grow from there. Lucifer was not the creator of the suffering and everything that we're dealing with down here. Satan was. Satan's not Lucifer, and it's not Jesus, it's not Lucifer's son. Satan's the one that gave the people the power and the delusion that planet Earth is important, that everything we do here is important. The average person does the same thing in life. Has children, has a family, gets a car, gets a house. What's important about that? It has wait, Tina. It has nothing to do with the spiritual worlds. So, and when we get back to what Jesus was teaching, why would he say, stay on this planet to live like animals, eat each other, eat everything you can? All right, I'll let you go, Tina. Sorry.
So interesting what you were just saying. What is the point of human life? We procreate, we eat animals, and we die. We're here as worker animals. That is the point of our life.
No, Tina.
Tina. Away.
Wait, no. You're missing the fact why we came here in the first place.
I might have an idea.
Go on, then.
Karma.
No. the first time you come here is not karma. It's creation. God gave soul the ability to become aware. You have to become aware to create karma. If you're unaware, you're not creating karma, really. It's an aware soul that creates karma. So when we came here, we had to realize what we were, which we didn't strive to do.
But is it
wait,
is it because of karma is the reason why we keep coming back?
Well, that's why we keep coming back.
Okay.
Because we don't learn why we came here in the first place. If you think it's about sex and your family and children, you're going to keep coming back here to do the same thing. If you realize it was to become aware of what soul is and its abilities and its gifts that it has, you can learn them. I mean, I learned the psychic abilities when I was 16 years old, but I realized they don't function right here, and you destroy reality when you play with it in the wrong reality.
It's never good when you know you're right.
You can play with them in the astral plane, and they work fine. But when you play with the psychic abilities here, you destroy things. You change reality. You change everything. So when Soul came down, Soul was given the opportunity to become an aware being. But that's when Satan was allowed, and he decided to keep people here on planet Earth. He created the idea of sex is so important, which it is here.
So we're stuck in there. We've gone from UFOs back to God talk again. So I'm going to cut you both off there. No, tonight, guys. We're going down that road. Stop it.
We have to realize.
Put a cork in it. We're not going down that road today. We're here like, are aliens poisoning our planet? Yes or no? Let's just hear the questions about that.
Or the title of this show, Alien versus Virus.
All right. The virus is sick. No, see, that's where you have to see. I put things together. A virus is a sickness. It was created from mankind. Who created the virus in the first place? You have to go back to the beginning. Why was viruses created? Why were they allowed to be created? Why were what aliens do? Why were they allowed to abduct people?
The human body's made up of viruses.
You know, the body, see, science is so wrong about the body. The human body is perfect. And I mean, Jesus said that as well. But whether we say he said it or not, the body's antidotes, virus, its lymphocytes destroy every defective cell in the body. They could destroy anything that comes into the body. They were able to. But when the government created more things, or people created more diseases that went inside the body, the virus itself can't fight that many. We got a set number of lymphocytes in the body. It's an army. And they push it out into the red and white cells of the body, of the blood. So when the army's fighting an army, say you got 1 million people, and there's 200 people, 1,000, 10,000 people coming in, you just wipe them out. When you bring 10 million people in, the army's stressed out and can lose. And that's how a bacteria, a virus, or something takes over the body. But when we constantly eat poison food, breathe poison air, the lymphocytes are already maxed out fighting. And then we bring a real virus into the body. They can't fight it. So when they say you got a weak immune system, we all have a weak immune system because we already destroyed it by what we already put in our body. So it's not easy to say why aliens are easy to affect us and what they want from us. And they want us to taste good. I'm sure they do. You know, I asked my one friend who was dealing with the tall whites, and he said, well, their favorite food is strawberries from this planet. Okay. It's one thing they can't get from any other planet. So we have to look at what...
is another, isn't it?
You know, it's like, then you say, do you want white meat or dark meat?
I'll have to season myself up.
Well, when you eat a chicken, some people like the white meat, some people like the dark meat. I mean, it's programming and taste. But to think that an advanced race that needs to eat wouldn't want to pick its prime food to eat? You think about an alien wanted to eat chocolate cake. What planet would it go other than to planet Earth? Like the commercial on TV, I don't know what it was, a Snicker bar or something, then they come down for a Snicker bar and they take it. But you know, I always say, even Bigfoot, there's certain things that they'll come out for. You put a candy bar out or put a jar of honey out, they'll come if they're... So it's a matter of taste in a lot of ways. You taste the music, taste of everything. But you have to go back into the agenda of what aliens are really here for. The Greys are dying out. And that's why they're worried about creating a new planet with their children. And they need our DNA to keep them alive.
anybody, and this is out to the chat room as well, so does anybody know of any alien beings that they've captured alive or have died that have food in their systems? If so, I want to know what it is. Or two, have a virus in their system and what it is, if they've had one. Does anybody know the answer to that question? I bet nobody's even asked that question, have they?
Well, what food a person dying has in their body?
No, an alien. So an alien dead body, or one they've captured, because if they're full of viruses and they eat us, surely there would be remnants of human tissue or human biology inside their stomachs.
I'll tell you this. Something I know for a fact. All right. I saw a video of it directly, which nobody saw on this. Most people on this planet have never seen. How the government clones greys, how cattle mutilation is a part of that program. Linda Moulton Howe has been involved with that for 40 years, and she has no clue what's going on. They take the sacks of a cow to breed, to grow an embryo of an alien inside it. The blood of that animal is what supplies the alien's body for food. Just like when we're in the sack, when a baby's being born, it's in a sack of liquid. Right? Liquid is the food that it lives on, the same as a chicken and an egg. It eats the white stuff, and it's when it's being born, when it's created, it's that little yellow spot in there which eats the fluid around it, which is kind of like the white of the egg.
So I've got
good.
So two things. When I went back and they took me to this room, it looked like a man-made room, because it's going to sound crazy, I was in a bubble and I came through the ceiling into this room that had cameras on the top, and as I looked down, had white walls on it, so it was definitely like a man-made thing with a door, because they don't seem to use them, and it was like a door. And there was this half dead, looked like a bull of some kind or a cow on the floor, and had one of its arms, one of its legs missing, but there was no blood anywhere. I couldn't see any blood, so they either cut it off or drained it beforehand. So I'm not sure what they did with the blood for that. So, but that's all I saw, so I can't comment on anything else. But when they took me and I saw all those hundreds of my babies in these pods, they said when I touched the pod and the baby spoke to me, when I touched the pod, the alien told me that they can't make embryonic fluid to the same level as the human does. They can't manufacture that. These alien babies were in artificial embryonic fluid. Surely, if they could produce it artificially, but not to the same level as the human, they would be eating and drinking that, no?
Well, what they can produce, you can only go as far as your awareness is. What you create, like when we make food, when we make dinner, whatever spices we put in it, it's only what we know. You don't go out to the forest and pick a tree and chop it apart and use that juice from that to make the plant.
What I'm saying is, these human embryos, if they're breeding them for food, these babies they're creating.
No, they're not breeding them for food.
Yeah, I said, because they're going to taste like artificial embryonic fluid.
No. The children that they're breeding is to keep their race alive, not to make food for themselves. But I got to let me say this before we go any further. To the people in the chat room, we try to keep this on a UFO world. Tina likes to keep it that way, which is fine. I do a couple shows a week. Text me. My email is hawksblood1aol.com. I'll do a show anytime during the rest of the week, and I'll get more deeper into the things that you're asking, because when we talk about where aliens come from and all that, who created them, God created everything. It's not like one's separate, one was created by itself and all those kind of things. So why God created aliens? It's like why God created aliens, because they were here before we were. So yeah, it was working with aliens to see what they would do. But they don't have feelings and emotions, so it decided to add feelings and emotions to the body and see what happens. Maybe we'll become more real, which we didn't. We became more obscene. So the growth of the human race is responsible because of aliens, because when Atlantis, which is the only time I'll talk about when planet Earth was in peace, was in a place of the right atmosphere to be in the perfect place, existed. It existed for a long time, but the only races that decided they wanted to use this planet couldn't use it because they couldn't get in touch and work with these people that were here. So they destroyed it. And then they created the thinking of the human race of killing, rape, murder, or sacrifice. All those words became a part of the agenda.
Stop it. Stop with the good talk. We're about UFOs and aliens.
We're talking about aliens. What do you mean? We're talking about why they came here.
Well,
That's what they came here.
Harvesters.
It has nothing. I mean, it has every. See, I don't. Religion is not a religion. Religion is just the way we think. It's an excuse for a word for it. People that want to believe in butterflies or the ocean or a tree as spiritual. Aliens don't have that. And that's why they deal with the lowest race. I mean, what we are right now. But they
Thanks.
put us here.
I feel quite special, you know. If they've claimed me thousands of times, obviously I must be special in some way. Don't say what to it.
If I happen to see another Tina locally, then I'll know.
Yeah, everyone says you've got a double somewhere. You never know.
So you can't combine one thing without adding the other. Okay, if you're talking about your multiple bodies, you do have multiple bodies, but they're not here on this planet.
I hope they're slimmer and better looking.
Well, soul doesn't have this form that we use. The body that we perceive we have today is only a vehicle. It's not what soul looks like or is. There's nothing about the human body that soul has to relate to.
The essence inside is the person you are, and you take that with you. You leave the body, and your consciousness, who you are, is who you are when you go. Right, I'm going to go, guys, on that note.
Oh, you're leaving already?
Yes, I'm going to go. Yes, I'm going to go and have
Okay, now we could get into religion.
We can get into religion all you want now, because I've been at work all 12 hours. I come home.
Somebody just said you're going to stick around. No, you're leaving. She's leaving.
No, if you've got any comments, just ask comments quickly now before I go. You got like a minute. So I'm going to say goodbye from me here in the UK. I'm COVID free at the moment, and I hope to stay that way. Be safe out there, people. Self-isolate if you need to. If you want moral support, me and Tommy are here. We'll be back next week. And if I have to go into quarantine, we'll be here every day.
I actually might not be here next week.
Where are you going?
Well, some friends of mine, we're gonna get out of town before they lock it down in the country.
Do you have Wi-Fi? Or do you have Wi-Fi where you're going?
Oh no. It's in the country. It's in the country.
You don't have a cell phone?
I mean, I have a cell phone. Yeah.
You could always get on the show. What are you kidding?
Charge it up and take it with you.
If you want to get out of where you are, you can join the show no matter what, as long as you got a cell phone.
No, I'm not saying I don't want to. I'm just letting you know.
You said you might not be able to get here. No, if you have a cell phone, you could always get here. That's an excuse.
It's a very weak signal because it's out in the country. So I've never tested it. I've never tested it.
Well, they activated 5G. Maybe it's working better already.
I hope not.
I know you hope not, but still.
Right,
Bye,
stop that, right.
It was a pleasure. Till next week.
I'm Tina Brad here in the UK, Southampton. You can find me on Hive. Human individuals visited by extraterrestrials. I'm Tina Brad on Facebook. I'm the Hive Initiative and Hive. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and the one with pictures. I can't remember the name of it now. If you have any questions, keep it for next week. Stay safe, and bye from Tina in the UK, and it's good to see you here. See you later, Tommy. Bye, Sasha. Bye, everybody in the chat room.
Good talking to you, Tina. See ya.
And you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. I'm going to stay here a little while. Somebody asked me, do I need to be part of a church? That's the most ridiculous sentence. No, you don't. Church has no clue to God or spirit or soul or death. So why would you want to be part of that?
Yeah, it boggles my mind how people associate, Jesus and religion as a symbol of church when it has nothing to do with religion. Right.
My book is The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization, but basically Jesus didn't come here to create a religion. It didn't create forgiveness. He didn't come here to create the idea of love. He showed what love was. Love did not exist until Jesus came to this reality, because women were still slaves and every other abused word that you want. Through Jesus, when he married Mary Magdalene and had a daughter, they realized the connection of love and everything else. Somebody asked me about Sergeant 18. Yes, he's laid back. I don't want to. He's a friend of mine, but here's the thing: he came into something that changed his life, and I guess he'd rather stay in that realm so that the government doesn't come after him, and then lose everything. Maybe he'll come back out. Maybe he realized. I mean, he was sick and he thought he was dying and everything. His partner's pretty sick, so maybe he wants to take the rest of his life in the best he can and enjoy it. I don't take life to enjoy it anymore. I'm here to just to put the truth out. When I was with Sergeant Joe, we did the show for 9 months on Kerry Cassidy, and we put the truth out every week. We put pictures up every week. We talked about it. And then when we closed that down, we lost lots of people because we had over 1,500 people hit that every show we did.
I won some pretty cool stuff on there too.
Oh, and we gave away gifts every week, which was pretty cool. And Sasha is one of the people that won them. But, you know, we did things that nobody else did. And charging money for what he did. He gave the gifts away and would send it to them because we just wanted people to listen. But now that government's becoming what they are and the UFO world is becoming what it is, I guess he might feel a threat from the government or somewhere where he feels he just can live life. He might, hopefully he comes back out. But then again, he's got money to live in a peaceful way and stuff. Why not stay there? Why do you need to be a part of this garbage? Unless you have a truth and you're going to expose it and stand by it and prove it. And I said, any psychic, and I said it to his face many times, if you were given a gift from an angel, God, or whatever you want to call it, and if it's a warning, you just can't put the warning out there. You got to stand by for it. If Noah didn't build the ark, guess what would have happened? If Lot wouldn't have listened to the warning, what would have happened? When an angel comes down and gives a person a warning, it's to be brought out. People that'll listen will understand it, but people that don't, guess what? They don't. Sanjo's a good friend. I hope he comes back out. Maybe he won't. He's not talking to me either. So again, and the reason why we always separated friendships because of some one thing, and I don't want to get into it because I know it bothers him so much, but it was one person. He wrote a book, and I think it's the most important book ever written in the UFO world. And now he's in jail, and they're torturing him every which way in jail. They blinded him. They raped him. They moved him from the prison he was in to put him into a really bad prison. He was only supposed to be in for 6 years, and he had a $450,000 fine when he gets out. But they're going to make sure that he never gets out. Or they're going to make sure that he dies before he does. He discovered Area 51, whether anybody in the UFO world wants to hear that or not. He was the first person going there. Before they bought all that land, when the ships used to come down there every second Thursday, and he was actually had people up there watching it and everything. They would rent a van and bring all these people out there. But when he got snagged up there, they had to buy that land to keep people from getting close.
Is this the guy with the video?
What do you mean the video?
Like he says, if he's killed or something, he's gonna put that video of the UFO out.
Oh no, that's not. No, this is Sean David Martin.
Oh, okay, different person.
John Ford, who's in the nut house in Long Island. He's not going to do anything. He sent a video out to 4 places on the planet. When he gets killed, they get released.
Yep.
And they're doing everything to make sure that he doesn't ever get released either. He should have released a video when he shot it, and nothing would have happened to him because it would have been out already. He shot a ship crash on Long Island, and where it went down, I went out there. You could see where the ship came down and crashed and went about 3/4 of a mile across the ground, chopping all the trees down and everything. They burned it. They came in and burned it when it happened, trying to cover up what happened. It was closed off by FEMA for 3 weeks. Long Island's flatland. There's no way a fire could go on for 3 weeks on a flatland of Long Island. So it was all a programmed scenario of what went down. Now, to bring it back to one thing, in the police records and the fire department records, when they have their codes of what they have to do and everything, it says in every book that if a strange object falls from the sky or any kind of dimensional, interdimensional, any entity unknown is in a space, they have to quarantine it and can't go inside it. In other words, if a ship lands, they can't go inside to play with the ship by their own code. So they have to close it off and call FEMA, and then FEMA comes in and takes it away. That's how it goes down all the time. So that's what happened with John Ford. When he saw the ship, he filmed it. And then he went to talk about it, and they arrested him and said he had uranium and he was going to kill Congress. So the scenarios that come out, when it's with the truth, you're going to hear the most ridiculous stories because how do you go against, well, a ship landed. Well, how do we cover that up? Well, he was doing drugs and he had this going on and whatever. They have to make some ridiculous story. So what goes around comes around. My my Mr. Gizmo's laying right next to me. He's right here sleeping. But hold on.
Gizmo.
There he is.
There he is. Snoozing away.
Snoozing away. So again, we have to be aware of what's happening and what our responsibilities are to ourselves, because that's who we are responsible to. And when you let go of that, then the next person you'll be responsible to is your pets and your family. So that's your choice. You create the rest of it. You always have yourself, and you got to be responsible to that. And that's the first law you got to learn when you're here. And I'm not saying you can't do this, you can't do that, but you're responsible for everything you do. And like you brought up, Sasha, we create karma. And the simplest thing to remember, if you hurt anybody, you're creating karma. If you don't, you're not hurting, you're not creating karma. Curse God out and things like that, then you create karma, but that's a different story. I mean, hopefully, if you're slightly aware, you know that's the answer. The earthquakes, I still feel we're going to have an earthquake real soon. I think what's happening right now, the scenario between the virus, UFOs, and everything, they're covering something up that's happening. I'm not sure. I still feel there's going to be a giant earthquake, which is going to take out a serious percentage of an area, causing a serious problem to the shift of the earth. That causes more serious problems to everything. But in the interim, the whole scenario is this whole thing with the president. Everybody hates him so much that hate him. The ones that love him so much. And then we got two parties, the Democrats and Republicans, fighting with each other. It's like Chinese war. I mean, we should be working at what we can do to help mankind move forward. Because if you have two separate issues, well, I'm going to worry about medical, I'm going to worry about making doing fracking and everything else. You can't go along with the two because they both don't support the way we think as a person.
Well, yeah, we're not going to keep moving forward and slow down this virus when you have people, like I read this article, they're starting to call this the coronavirus challenge. This girl is licking airplane toilet seats.
Well, you know, when AIDS came out and it went to the prisons, all the security guards were carrying guns because if a person came near them, they would shoot them. Because the prisons were trying to bite people, trying to spread the virus. So yeah, it's a scenario. Sick people feel that that makes something do something famous, they at least go down in history. They get put on the books and die. Otherwise, you go down as a nobody, doing nothing. How many people out of all the people that died are written in the history books? 1%? I mean, think about it. How many people die daily and every minute, every hour, and they're nowhere to be found ever again, except for the families that think about them until they die. So we got.
Yeah, I was about to.
Somebody asked me about weed. I will just say this: I don't smoke. I support it. I think everybody should be allowed to do it. It's a natural plant. It doesn't hurt. Doesn't make people angry, sick, and perverted, twisted, evil. And it makes them mellow. It doesn't make them an angry creature on this planet like drinking does. So, did you have any questions, Sasha? You wanted to bring up anything that we didn't get into yet?
Not necessarily. I was just saying, I too had a feeling that, while this virus, everybody's focusing on that. I just got a feeling that these agencies are doing something serious behind the curtains. While everybody's focused on this virus, this gives them the opportunity to do some nefarious acts.
Well, I just checked. Puerto Rico's having earthquakes every day, and they're averaging 3 to 5, 3 to 6, and they're not going to stop fracking. When we talk about when we made Puerto Rico part of the United States, I never knew why, and I kind of really still don't know why, because they hated the United States. They hated the white people. When they came into their country, they killed them and did everything they could to them. They didn't want to speak English. So why did we make them part of the United States? The same as I still don't understand why we allowed Spanish to be the second language in the United States. All right. When the Spanish came in and the British came in, they did a number on the native people. Why isn't native language accepted? So we have this. There's always this negative thing in the background of most people's consciousness that pulls us away from the truth. Now, in the UFO world, these people want to believe aliens are going to come help us. And I said, they've been here for thousands and thousands of years, and they didn't help us move forward. I mean, they could have did a lot of things in the beginning. I mean, even after Atlantis went down, they could have started rebuilding what they wanted as a society. But look at the society that was created and allowed to manifest. Rapists, murderers, killers, children shooting people with guns. I mean, we have the worst scenarios that, I mean, every day I hear something that totally mind boggles my mind that it's out there for real. I mean, now we created a synthetic world, which is like the computer world, and they got the word catfish. I mean, if you pull up and watch that, what these people do online, and then there's another word, stalking, and then there's another word called ghosting. All these things are done through the computer now. So you're not really meeting a person, not really falling in love with a person, because you're just falling in love with an image and an idea that created in your mind because somebody said so. So we're deteriorating rapidly. And people say, well, where are we going to move forward? We can't move forward if we don't straighten out the present. And well, people say, well, we have to live in the present. Well, living in the present of a virus is pretty hard. While we're in this state of being immobile, we should be thinking of the things we could do that will help the world be a better place. And that, Kennedy, I'm sorry he got shot and killed, but he was killed by our government. But the sad part is he knew about aliens. He wanted to bring it out. Marilyn Monroe knew about aliens. She wanted to bring it out. All right. And both of them were died. Wonder why. So anybody that talks about aliens, especially up until now, disappeared or just vanished, whatever. So what is the purpose? Well, we need to focus on what we can do to make the world better.
And to add to that and to Uber's comment, we're not making things better by putting up these 5G towers by schools and near schools. Like me personally here, I'm here in Columbia, Missouri, and I see these 5G boxes being put up everywhere. Schools and even in parks now.
Well, they have to be everywhere.
That's
what I did find out that the towers have to be a lot closer than the other towers. Longer. All right. I mean, it could go through steel, go through concrete, go through anything. But we have to look at what. Oh, I just wanted to throw this in real fast. I'm in Hawaii. The HAARP system is the most deadliest weapon on the planet. The school in Hawaii has the HAARP system inside it, the equipment and the satellite beam antennas around on the roof of the Waimea High School.
Are you kidding me?
I called up the school, asked the principal. He says, "Oh no, I don't know nothing about it." I said, "Go out on the roof, pull up your own school online, and check it out." That's how stupid and ignorant people are. This is the principal of the school didn't know that they had this. They allowed children to learn about the HAARP system in this environment. We have the HAARP boat that comes into the shoreline of Hawaii every 6 months. So people just ignore things. They put black boxes along the beach here where I live to produce sound waves to keep the dolphins and the whales from coming inshore. Now, why? It was only testing at the time. And they put these boxes all along the shoreline because one of my friends was one of the top dolphin swimmers on this island swimming. She always swam with dolphins. And they used to come in by the hundreds, and they don't even come in anymore. So guess what? It's a danger to them. And now that the government doesn't stop anything, the government spent the past, I don't know how many years, killing 10,000 dolphins a year. I think they kind of stopped working with dolphins, even though I'm not sure of that. I can't prove it. But I was friends with the trainer of Flipper, the person that the government called in to try to train dolphins, and he said, no way. They wanted to train dolphins to kill humans, the first thing they wanted to do, which dolphins' instinct says no, period. And they killed them right and left. So I think they're an alien species as well. And people don't understand that. But their brain is the same as ours. No other creature, not monkeys, apes, any other creature has a brain like we do. So, and they think different. They use different parts of that. They use sonar and radar, which we can't. but it's in our brain ability to use it if we were aware. So, I mean, they were doing all kinds of testing with dolphins, and they proved so many things about dolphins. A dolphin can speak 150 words, where a monkey can only speak 50 words, just to show you the difference in the abilities that they have. So we get involved with the wrong scenarios, creating pools for people to watch dolphins jump up and through hoops and everything. Well, how about the dolphins make a school and have humans jumping through hoops? That would be fun. Watching all these humans jumping around in the pool, throwing a ball up in the air and stuff, and they throw them a fish to eat. Yeah, that would be fun. But again, we create scenarios that take away from who and what we are as a human race. So until we're ready to face what we're creating, Spirit has to do that. Oh, I think he got in. Hold on. Hey, look who's in the chat room. Who came in? He's there. You're in, just so you know. Greetings. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, but it's very, very faint, your audio.
I could barely hear you too. No, that's not much louder.
No, audio's still low.
You know, I'm sorry we can't hear you. Well, we see you. We can say hi. I know Tina got offline real fast. We do an hour, which is fine. She doesn't like to talk about religion or spiritualism in any great way. We can only deal with what we're aware of ourselves, and she's totally aware of aliens and stuff and what they do. I mean, for a person to say, well, aliens are spiritual beings, to her that would mean absolutely nothing, because they didn't do anything beneficial for her, never mind hurt her and abuse her and everything else under the sun.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can slightly hear you in the background. I don't know how you can turn your I can't do it from this end and turn the volume up. I could block your voice. I'm going to turn your speaker on and off. I don't think that's going to help. All right, I don't think that did anything. But well, you got halfway in. I wish we could get your voice a little louder so we can hear you. I'm sorry, people. We're having technical difficulty, which I've been having a lot. I've been in touch with the company every couple of days, waiting to hear something back from them. What's really funny, my cameras went out for a reason as well, and I'm just getting them fixed. I keep blaming 5G, even though we don't have it yet. But maybe your headset will work. Oh, you're using your headset, and it's not going up, huh? Try not using your headset. Try to go direct from. You have a speaker. I mean, a microphone on your computer. Oh, he just froze. What I suggest, you sign out and come back in. I mean, I had a problem like that with when we had Jeffrey Seelman on. He couldn't hear us, and then we couldn't hear him. It depends on their equipment and stuff. I mean, I went out of my way to get top-of-the-line equipment from my computer. So it should. And for this other thing to keep happening, I have no clue yet. So he's trying to get back in. We'll see if he gets back in. I don't want to keep the show going too much longer. Rip all those people.
Sorry.
We're back. Talk.
I had a crash.
Oh, well, we hear you. Guess what?
Yeah, sorry.
We can hear you now. Congratulations. Greetings.
Yeah, it crashed. The router crashed.
Okay.
Oh, really? Because I'm having problems with my router as well. So it's a pleasure to have you on. Do you want to talk? Say who you are at least?
Yeah, I'm not running calls right now. I do the Starwimpole user, my user ID. We do the transportation pickup for local Medicare, seniors, and what you used to do. Right now, I don't have any calls right now. Talk to you online. Okay. Tea recipes from Tina.
We're all going through a lot right now. We're going to be stressed out the next month or two, maybe 3 or 4, who knows. Well, we learn to stick together and work it out or not, but the government's responsible for taking care of what's the serious problems, which they need to do. Because if everybody loses their job and nobody has money, there's going to be loot and riots and everything else, which will be a serious problem. And they won't be able to keep up with that either. So unless they start shooting people down. So to keep it in a balanced state, we really got to wake up. And I mean, people should, the first rule, which I think is probably going to help the world right now, is stay away from other people. Keep your distance. This way you're not going to get it. And then as far as food and stuff, that'll be the secondary issue, is getting your food. I mean, everybody's bought out the stores. Zinc Lassenger, Zinc's a cure for a lot of things, that's for sure. The other thing I'm making out right now, I just got my water, is colloidal silver. And that's one thing everybody should drink. It helps a lot of things. You can buy it and make the system to do it yourself. I guess he's making it as well.
Oh, nice! You make your own.
My brother and sister got me on that.
Well, it's a good thing. I got involved with that a long time ago. I don't use it all the time, which I should. But remember,
I need to start doing that.
Anybody making colloidal silver, you need to use distilled water. Just remember that, because you don't want bacteria in it when you start shooting the silver through it. And then through it, when you see the green beam going across, I can. Oh, what's that? I can't see. Ultimate.
Yeah, what is that?
90, Dr. Wallach, 90 minerals.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow, sounds good. Sounds really important thing to take.
It's colloidal minerals.
Oh, okay, interesting. There was a machine created 25 years ago. I know they're still selling it. I know it's a big thing. Basically, what you do, you put whatever you want on one side of it and water on the other side, and it takes the energy out of the product that's on the one side and puts it in the water on the other side. So you're not really taking the product, but you're taking the benefits of it. I was with the people that bought the machine, and I was working with it when it first came out. I never used it, so I don't know if it really works or not. If anybody out there has an experience with it, let me know, because it was an expensive machine.
I'll let you know once that Russian device arrives. I'll let you know how that goes.
Well, that would be interesting too. But how are you going to prove it? See, the effects G4, G5, when it comes.
Yeah, it's that, and it's any RF and EMF field.
But can you determine when you're in one field like that?
Yes, I'm personally sensitive to EMFs and RFs, unfortunately.
All right, so well, see how it works. Let me know, because I told you there's a lot of fake companies coming out with things that aren't real, charging a lot of money. It's just like those rat machines that's supposed to keep rats out of your house. Not one of them ever worked. I mean, I met one person said, "Oh, it works really good in his house," and I never came across anybody else that said it does. I mean, they charge you a lot of money for the newer ones. Music is the answer. Because my partner plays guitar and sings, and it's I don't get to hear it much, but it's an incredible way. I think music is one of the most critical things we need now. And I tell you, Sasha, when you do your exercises, music's beneficial in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I need to start doing that. Like last night was a pretty good experience.
You were using which one?
No, it was just the red light. The red light.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I was going to say. That's probably a good thing to use a lot now. I haven't been getting a chance to do much. Just trying to. Oh, the kitty cat. We're getting to see his whole family.
Kitty cat.
That's the kitty cat.
Mars.
So, yeah, we all need something in our lives: music, animals, things that help us deal with what's happening. And it doesn't have to be drugs. Like I said, I'm not against marijuana at any level. I think that should be legal everywhere. It always should have been. People should have never went to jail because they were smoking marijuana. And the hard drugs, I don't agree with that. People selling hardcore drugs to people, to children, that's a problem. But we got to deal with aliens coming here now, what they want, what they're doing, what the government's planning on doing. I don't think any of them really fit together what we want or what we think we know.
Uber's got a question about the red light.
Oh, the technique I gave Sasha to use with a black stone.
It's
It's
right behind me. It's right there. And what I do is I turn it on. I use a reflective object, and I stare into my eyes. This is what one of the techniques that Tommy has taught me, and it's an interesting new experience. So one of many ways to have it.
Well, it's a technique that was used by witches in the old days. It was used by people in the ancient times as well. There's things when you can't get somewhere, when you can't attain something, I always say do something different. If you do a meditation, it doesn't work, change it. You're in the wrong spot, change where you are. If you're breathing the wrong kind of air, change that. Whatever doesn't work for you, change it. Don't suffer with it.
Well, they're spraying the skies. You don't really have a choice what you breathe.
Well, you could wear a mask and you could stay in your house most of the time, keep your windows closed, keep an air circulator inside the house. I mean, we have to go totally out of our way to stay out of the stuff that they're doing to us. I just went Gala, the one at the UFO site where they promote everybody and everything. So they had one about poisons in our food. I said, everything they said, I knew 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was not something up to date, like, okay, they're putting poisons in our food and our soda and stuff. I said, duh, you just realized that now?
Yeah.
How about the air? Everything you breathe in the air is toxic. Oh, you got a beautiful view out there.
Yeah, see this 100-year-old tree.
Then you got your St. Patrick's Day guy up.
Think I can get a spiritual name out of that one?
You should be able to. Did you yet? No?
Did what? No, not yet.
You're in an open scene where people will be you sit with your back next to the tree. Nobody could say a word. I mean, and that's what you should do because it'll come to you in a short period of time. If you do it a couple of days in a row, just put your back next to that tree, close your eyes, and sing and dance or whatever in your mind, and sing out loud if you have to or can. Because the sound will come to you, and then you'll hear your sound. You'll hear your real name as well. But
has Sasha ever traveled?
No.
Okay. Me, just drinks.
He's working on it.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal.
The goal is to not give up, not to push too hard, because then it doesn't happen anyway. People are given their karma. I never had to force anything. Everything just popped up and big part of my reality. I think I met almost every spiritual, psychic, and superpowered person on this planet. Not because I wanted to or tried to. They just appeared in my life. It came to me. So, but I was also told that I would meet everybody that was important in any of my lifetimes in this lifetime that are here. So I consider that a gift as well. But learning to listen to your angels, your guides, whatever words you want to use. I don't like to use the word higher self. We are our higher selves, first off. But we do communicate with other things. And that's what we need to learn to do.
What was that sweat lodge? That guy
Oh, a sweat lodge?
Yeah.
Well, did you ever go to one?
No, the guy I picked up yesterday, he was part Indian, and he said that he had gone to a lot of. He lived in Montana, and he went to a lot of sweat lodges.
Well, I used to go to one like almost every other month for years. They're good. I mean, it's a certain level, but when you go to one, it's the temperature's like 140 degrees inside it, and you stay in there for a couple hours. and you really can't get out until they let you out. So what they do, let everybody pray out loud or quiet, and they pass a pipe around inside, and everybody gets to say their prayer inside there. You sing a couple songs, and then if you really can't deal with it, they tell you to put your head on the ground because you're on the dirt usually. And if you're going to pass out and things, then they'll finally let you out if they have to. Some people think it's a torture, but when you put yourself in a kind of situation like that, soul becomes more active. It's like when I told Sasha originally, when you're little kids and you spin around in a circle, you do that for a reason. Not because you get nauseous, not because you get sick, because for a split second or two, you're actually outside of your body. And that's the first experience that a person gets that, or a child, gives them that awareness that they really don't have any other way. So, but the sweat lodge is cool. If you can get to one, go to one. Usually you just wear a pair of shorts in there, and they say bring a little short towel or rag to sit on. But it's with a bunch of people all putting their prayers out there. See, when the whole thing about when the Christians, the Spanish and British came with the native people, and they said they went into a peace ceremony, and they go into these sweat lodges with the native people, and they said pass the peace pipe. It was never a peace pipe. It was always a prayer pipe. Big difference. But the white man translated it to the way they wanted, because we smoked the pipe with them. It was peace. But the white man never wanted peace with the native people because they never created peace with the native people. So, I mean, I can go into that as well. But, no, I'm glad you came on. Hopefully,
I'm going to start supper down.
Well, I'm going to be doing a show probably in a couple of days, more so on the spiritual side. When Tina's on, she has that information, so I'd rather keep it with the UFOs. I mean, like I said, she wants to keep it there, which is fine. But it's a pleasure. I'm glad you got on. And
nice meeting you there, Starwind.
Yeah, there's cool stuff around. If you can get it with Sweat Lodge, it'll help. It's a cool thing to go to. You might like it, you might not, but there's only one way to find out is try it. And if they invite you, go to it. It depends. It could go for many hours. It could go for a few hours. But every so often they bring more hot rocks in there to make it hotter. Just so you know. But
to see your past lives, I think Sasha was going to try that. The mirrors and everything. The red light.
Yeah, that's yet another one of my goals. I gotta experience leaving the body first, and then I would love to remember my past lives.
You'll like I said, you start somewhere, and starting's better than not starting at all. But with that, everybody, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad to have you both on. Anytime you want to come on, feel free. I'm allowed to bring 6 people on my show, so if it's not 6, you can always come in. So think about that. But until next time, questions, send them to hawksblood1 AOL.com. Anybody wants my books, I do send my first 2 books out for free as an ebook, How to See God and Truth, and When Truth is Called Crazy. And anything else, please, my new book is really important if you want to read it, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. But I'm doing my new book, which is not almost done. I'm going to have to work on getting that printed, but that's my next goal, is getting this book out. I think it needs to be out right away. But everybody, peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, hope you get it. Till next time, hope you stay clear, stay free, do the best you can to stay away from this virus.
Oh, yeah.
Later, everybody.
Here.
Well, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's my truck. I'll be picking them up right there.
Okay.
You used to do that.
Yeah, well, peace. Till next time.
See you, Tom. Sasha.
Bye, everybody. Till next time. You heard it here first, hopefully.